I'll read out one line. Escape from Tarkov is a hardcore, realistic online first-person action RPG simulator with MMO features and a story-driven walkthrough.
Is that from the website?
That is the top line of the About section of Escape from Tarkov.
Wait. Did you say story-driven walkthrough?
100%. I didn't stutter.
Someone start a class action lawsuit for fraud because there is nothing story-driven about the non-walkthrough that doesn't exist.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PogCast, the show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, streaming, with a heavy focus on the first-person shooter Escape from Tarkov. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jessekazam, an Escape from Tarkov Twitch streamer, YouTuber, just general content creator.
And I'm Veritas, and I have a better microwave than Pestily.
Confirmed.
Not true. I actually found out how much mine's worth, and I can guarantee you yours is not worth more than mine.
It's not about money. Okay? It's not about
bigger. It's more powerful.
Mine's red.
I have a declaration stating that everything I ever do is better than yours. So yeah,
you still haven't blacklight.
No, I licked it.
Well, Pest, thanks for coming, buddy. Good to have you here.
Thanks, mate.
I feel like
my pleasure.
We haven't chatted in a while. We've been busy. I've been hiding from Escape from Tarkov for a while. How have you been enjoying or not enjoying or enjoying other things? What's been going on?
I've been enjoying Tarkov. I've been dialing it back a little bit for myself, taking a few days off to enjoy the other things in life, but also focusing on my YouTube content because I've actually been really enjoying just making content. I know that's like Twitch streaming still is making content, but it's different kind of content.
For sure.
So for me, it's actually been a bit of fun there, and I'm actually working on a new YouTube channel at the moment. So that's taken up some of my brain power. And then just yesterday, I went for a big walk, and we went through a park with like nature gardens and stuff. And
nature gardens, huh? Tell me more about what exactly a nature garden is.
Lots of flowers, lots of bugs.
Okay. What did you bring to your picnic?
Ooh, I had different types of crackers and dips and cheese and meats. You know what tapas are, right? You go to like a supermarket in the Netherlands, and they've got like a tapas section, and you literally just go there, and there's like all the like pre-made. It's like picnic heaven. You just go there. You don't have to prep anything. You just go like they're pretty expensive, but you just grab heaps of different ones, and I put them all in the bag, and I was like, "Yep, good to go for the picnic."
I got a funny story about tapas, real quick. Me and my wife were down. This is when we were in college. We were gonna go see It was like a big tournament in Virginia. Was it Virginia Beach? No. Where's the beach? Jersey Shore. It was the Jersey Shore.
It's a Jersey thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a pro beach volleyball tournament. Because my wife played volleyball in college, and when we were down there on the boardwalk, we were looking for somewhere to eat, and there was, one of those like boardwalk restaurants with somebody out front, like handing out menus. And I was like, well, what kind of place is this? And very, very quickly and like muffled, it was loud. She's like, oh, it's a tapas bar. And all I heard was topless bar. And of course, I had never heard of tapas before that. Uncultured swine, college very. And then my wife was like, oh, that sounds good. I'm like looking at my wife, looking at the woman, looking at my wife. I'm like, you really? Wait,
it's a trap.
You really want to go in here? Are you sure? And it was just like the most awkward thing because I was like, you really want to go into this topless restaurant? Like, what the hell? I was so confused. And it wasn't until like we ended up not going, but it wasn't until like an hour later that it was in the back of my head, and I was like, why did you want to go into that topless bar so bad? She's like, the what? And it was extremely embarrassing, and
that's incredible.
That's my story.
I don't know what tapas are. Somebody educate me.
Small plates of food.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Tiny little pasties that you put food on.
No, generally, like you go to a
send me a video
bar
later.
And they're like anywhere between like $5 and $12, and you'll buy. If there's two of you, you'd buy like 8 of them. And then it's just like lots of small little meals, and then you can try lots of different things.
Nice.
That's pretty much how it is. It's great
Right.
for big groups too, so because you can just get shitloads. Just be like, I want 3 of everything. And
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
Like appetizers the whole time, basically.
Oh, I can get down with that. That's awesome. Well,
All right,
yeah.
so
there we go.
Yeah, so anyway, off of topless bars and meat picnics.
Yeah.
How have you been feeling about Tarkov lately? What's been on your mind?
Not a lot, really. It hasn't really changed much in my mind.
Yeah.
So the reason why I've played other games more than anything is I've just kind of wanted to like just reflect on why I play games more than anything. So I took a few days off about 2-3 weeks ago, and I spent the entire day playing StarCraft, Half-Life, all the games I grew up on. And I was just like, this is why I started gaming.
Yeah.
And this is what I enjoy. And I want to focus on just having fun. And then that's when I was like, all right, so on my live stream, I'm going to play some Half-Life, just get anyone into a game and play some Half-Life from time to time. And Nikita joined for about half an hour. That was good fun.
Did he really?
I
That's
saw a
awesome.
clip of that. So that was actually when you were playing Half-Life, and I think there was a clip of you killing Train Fender. That was actually Nikita, but you guys were okay. I thought maybe he was randomly playing like in his free time, and you happened to be in the same server. I was like, whoa.
I just sent him a message and say, hey, I'm going to play Half-Life on stream tonight at the end of my stream if you want to play. And he goes, what time? I go, oh, like 10 or 11 at night. And he's like, yep, I'll see if I'm free. And I'm like, it's not a big download. It's like 400 meg. And he's like, yeah, sweet.
I never played Half-Life. I'll have to watch that VOD.
But yeah, and I just like focused on what I enjoy. And then it was around the same time that Reddit just started fucking going ferocious with their whole Pestily nerf the Mosin, which all I did was change an ammo. I had nothing to fucking do with the Mosin. But anyway, it was about balancing the ammo. And so chat was just getting really toxic. Chat was pretty good, but like there was just overflow. There was a bit of overflow of just toxicity around the Tarkov scene, and I was just like, I just want to have fun. Like, I don't have time for BS. I don't have time for toxic. I play games to have fun and talk shit with people and have a laugh. And I played a heap of Rust with Sequisha, and I was laughing the whole time.
So when you switched games, how did it feel being a 6,000K Andy and just like a nobody with a dead stream? 6,000K.
6,000K. That's not a
6
nobody.
million viewers. So it's pretty good, man. I think it's always in the back of everyone's mind, like, oh, what if I go into another game and it's lower numbers? I've kind of prepared for it in different ways. Like, my YouTube sits really well now. Like, technically, I could live off my YouTube channel now. So technically, I could go full variety and still survive if I had nothing else. And I just did some YouTube for Tarkov. And having that in the back of my mind is actually really positive. But then after I looked at it, like, might have had less viewers as in the total viewers for a stream, but I still got good follower growth each day. Like, it was between 300 and 600 followers a day. It does help being on the top of a category, but Rust has a lot of crossover from Tarkov anyway, like as in player base, not gameplay. And to be honest, some of the gunfights in Rust are more tactical and more enjoyable than Tarkov because it's not over in one bullet. Like, particularly early when you've got a crossbow or a bow and arrow and you're running around and you're like taking a shot and then you're ducking behind the next rock and running around at the side. Like, it's actually really tactical in that. And that's back to the old school Tarkov where I really enjoyed, a fight wasn't over instantly. It was more about repositioning, getting into good positions and having that great fight. A lot of games these days, time to kill is like one bullet. Even like pretty much every game these days. So having to hit someone twice with an arrow and ducking other arrows actually is a lot of fun. Yeah.
How do you think, like, what are your thoughts on like the greater like Escape from Tarkov community as it sits right now? Because it's just, there's some interesting stuff happening. A lot of people who play, I kind of get this sobering reminder all the time where I'll just be in chat and I'll be like, type 1 in the chat if you started playing Tarkov after the flea market was in the game, like on your day one. And it's like, oh, everybody. And so it's like there's this really interesting divide where we have people that like remember what the old Tarkov was. Time to kill was longer. You know what I mean? Like, the found in raid wasn't a thing because everything in the whole entire game was found in raid. And they're like looking back on that and comparing that to the Tarkov it is now. And then we have a whole new group of people that are basically just comparing the Tarkov now to what they want it to be. And then we just have this weird kind of like, a lot of people that ask, like, you know, we said, how are you feeling about Tarkov? And you're like, no thoughts. I'm just playing a game. But like the community seems like it's like always up in arms about something. Like, how do you feel about that like divide between people who...
The divide isn't based on who's been around longer. It's where they've come from, in my opinion. So it's like there's a large portion of the community that are like milsim. Like they're coming from Armor. They're coming from Squad, all those kind of games where it's like, I've got to be full tactical, peek around the corner properly. Like, it's got to be all perfect. And then there's the other side where it's just like, I played Apex and had fun, and you know, and so, and then there's the clashes where it's like we want gamisms to make it so it's fun to play, and the other one's like, I want full realism, and then there's like Nikita in the middle going like it's like how like he's just trying to do his thing, you know? Like,
do you think that so like that makes a lot of sense what you're saying, but what's weird is that like I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like most other games don't suffer from that. Like if you picked up Fortnite for the first time, 10 minutes in, you know exactly what that game is and if you want to play it or not. Like, do you think the fact that we have this just unreal push and pull between like people, you know, the realism versus the fun, you know, I want more RPG, you know, I want more realism. Do you think that's because like a lack of not communication, but like from BSG, it's because they're still trying to figure it out? Or do you think it's just because people want this game to be different than what it is?
I'll read out one line. Escape from Tarkov is a hardcore, realistic online first-person action RPG simulator with MMO features and a story-driven walkthrough.
Is that from the website?
That is the top line of the About section of Escape from Tarkov.
Whoa, wait. Did you say story-driven walkthrough?
100%. I didn't
start a class action lawsuit for fraud because there is nothing story-driven about the non-walkthrough that doesn't exist.
It's trying to be everything.
Yeah.
And that's why people argue, it's got realism. It's got realism in it. So therefore it has to be realistic. But then on the other side, it's got MMO features. It's like, whoa. And then it's like story. And, you know, like, and RPG simulator. It's just
soon TM at the end would have probably been a nice
releasing soon TM. Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. And that's kind of what I have been feeling, where it's like, it's really like a journey of discovery for them about what game they want to make. Whereas, I
think Nikita knows.
Yeah. Where do you think the divide is then between like what Nikita has in his brain and that sentence you just read? You know what I mean? Like
somewhere in the realms of Nikita's not the greatest at explaining himself. So he'll say a lot of different things. Yeah. And he's got his image in his head. Yeah. But, you know, we pick a little bit from this podcast. We pick this bit from an article. Yeah. And we just have our own vision we fill the gaps with. Yep. And then that's where we come out and go, oh, this is the game. This is what's happening.
Don't we think that, like, think about someone who is trying to design... Actually, you know what I think is a good analogy is imagine, like, the guy who wrote the book Ready Player One, right? Like, he has a story, he has a vision probably for like the second book and maybe a third book and maybe a fourth book. He has it all in his head, but how far removed is he from the people that are doing the fucking movie? And then you see why the movie is so different from the book. I feel like it's really similar to how Tarkov is, in that like Nikita has in his head what he wants from like a philosophical perspective about what the game is to be, but communicating that is nearly impossible, and then having that be actually properly communicated and then implemented with a team of, I don't know, 30, 40 developers or whatever over the course, probably hundreds over the course of many years, plus a community wanting to change things, and that maybe circling back and changing what Nikita's saying. I don't know, I just feel like Nikita might know what he wants, but I feel like that is so different than Nikita doesn't know what the game is going to be. He knows what he wants from a really high level, from an actual, like, what buttons do what in the game and what can I do on what screens. I don't think that that's necessarily as codified as we think. I think they're figuring that out as they go, but that's just my guess.
I think, it's been 5 years now into development, but you've got to put 2 years of that into like probably 2.5 years of that into like pre-alpha, where they
Yeah.
were like really just writing the story and the lore and all that. So in that process, there would be constant note taking, I'd hope, of where the actual end picture would be and where the game would sit in the world. But it's like we're just guessing here now. Like
Yeah.
it's really the only person who can really answer the question of what Tarkov's going to look like is Nikita, and I have faith that he's making the game that he wants to make.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we can hope for, right? Like, you know, I tell people all the time in chat that like Nikita is God of Tarkov. Like, it's when people talk about realism, it's like it doesn't matter if he wants it to be this to be realistic, it will be, and if he wants that to not be, it won't be. Like, it's the game that he wants to make, and it's Tarkov is really in such like a weird spot because that sentence alone shows that they're trying to be so many different things, and they're not all of those things perfectly yet, but they're close enough to being that super original thing that it's piqued the interest of hundreds of thousands of people. And because they're not there yet, they're just close. All those interested people are like begging for anything they can get. And then all they get is the broken English podcast from a guy in Russia who hasn't slept and is trying to explain what his game is. And it's this like weird circle of like, I don't want to say misinformation, but it's just a circle of like a bunch of people really want something, and the guy who's trying to make it is trying to figure out how to make it, but then every time he does, it makes people want it more. And it's just like we're in this really weird spot. And then the popularity of the game, we've talked about this on previous shows, like it's a different ballpark when your community is 20,000 people strong or 300,000 people strong.
I think it's a curse. Honestly, I think it's having that many people constantly
Yeah.
wagering the game in different ways and pulling it and pushing it in different ways is a lot different to when the game was like, I was streaming the game on Twitch when there was 150 viewers.
Yeah.
Like that's for like my time slot had 150 viewers. I was sitting on 30. You know, like it was a much smaller group of players and people, but they were still trying to do everything they could. And I think when you add such a large influx of players, there becomes so many distractions from server issues, cheating issues, RMT. Oh, I don't even want to touch on all that stuff, but like all these other issues that come in that detracts. And I always have this idea as like, what if just like, I know people would freak out, but what if the game just went down for like 2 months and then they just went ham on just developing? Didn't have to worry about server issues, didn't have to worry about like cheaters, all that stuff. And they just went bah, 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 bah. And like then 2 months later, bring it back on and we're like, whoa. Like, I know it's probably not a financially smart thing to do, and there would be a portion of the player base be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
But I think the leap in development would actually be amazing. And I know like they're not going to do that.
Well,
but
why would they need to take the game down for 2 months?
Because then they're not distracted by people developing cheats. They're not distracted by server issues. They're not distracted by any other bullshit. They literally just...
I mean, they could just not do anything. I mean, like, I guess you have the potential to be distracted, right? But it's like the equivalent of if they're not doing anything actively, I don't know. I just don't feel like I don't know that having the game offline for 2 months would save them a whole lot of cycles.
I don't know. I don't know. I have that idea about what if that was just, hey, we just close the doors and we work hard for 2 months. And we don't worry about all the other stuff going on in the world. We just get the game done.
And then they have drops on that first day, and there will be 800 billion people on Twitch like, it's back. And then the servers will not work because everybody won't have their crack for 2 months.
That would actually be probably a great marketing strategy. I've thought the same thing, though, multiple times. I know you suggested to him on the last podcast, like, you're like, if RMT is an issue, what if we turn off the flea market for a month? You know what I mean? Like, you made that suggestion. And it's weird because I've actually thought those same thoughts for a while. It's like, if we just take whatever it is, whatever the pressure point is for you, what's just like the bombshell way to release that? Let's just turn the game off for a few months or whatever. Because it feels like, as somebody who follows the game and plays the game a lot and is really into it, it really just feel like they almost need this like introspective time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Nikita's to be able to sit down with everybody and not have everybody being like, okay, well, this cheat just broke and now all this is happening. And they can just like focus up on like what they want to do, what the next steps are. But of course, like Veritas was saying, we don't know the ripple effects of like, does that actually save them any time because they're going to have to prepare for XYZ? I don't know. But
the only thing that makes me say it is the fact that Nikita said 60% of his day or 65% of the day is taken up by handling the cheating issues. And then there would have to be at least like 6 to 12 hours of a week added towards server issues because they go down. Like, I don't know. It's just I like brainstorming that kind of random shit. I don't think it's a good suggestion. I just think, like, in an alternative universe, if we had that option, what would be the outcome? Like you said, it's probably even a good marketing strategy because everyone's a little bit burnt out. Well, you shut them down for a bit, and then now they're like, I crave it. Where's my
for sure
fucking Tarkov, you know?
For sure.
And then, so
yeah, it's like if Shroud came back to Twitch, he would break every record ever day one, even though everyone he left, everyone's like, oh, you're leaving Twitch for Mixer? It's like, but now we want him. So yeah, it's I totally get that. And Tarkov is in, you know, a weird state with everything like that, but I'm still having fun. Looking ahead at some of the stuff that we are getting, 12.7 is right around the corner. There seems like there's a ton here, like a ton to look forward to. Is there anything specific that was in the patch notes that stuck out to you that you're excited for? Maybe something that surprised you, or just like, hey, customs expansion, I've been waiting for that for forever.
I'm more excited for the Scav boss on Shoreline than anything else. I think the fact that it's at docks, cottages, and resort, I think it's just going to bring fun fights to Shoreline that isn't in the resort. And I think it's just going to be it's going to bring a lot more fun to that map. And for me, like, I'm deliberately postponing Shoreline raids on the raid series that I do because I want to do them with all the combat and bosses going on, and it's frustrating me. I'm like, I just want to feel more, but you know, like, I think it's just I don't get hyped anymore. I don't know if it's like a thing that it happens after time, but like every time I get hyped for anything in almost life, it goes to shit. I'm so psyched for Europe, and I get to Europe and then can't travel, and then like you know, like
you're probably like me, where like you had too many, you know, metaphorical Disney trips last minute canceled, where every time my wife said, aren't you excited for vacation? I'm like, I'll be excited when the plane lands in fucking Florida. Like, not until then, you know.
I think the army did it because it was always like, oh, yeah, you excited for the weekend? I'm like, I'm not jinxing it. I could get sent away. I could get guard duty. Like, you know, like leave's coming up, but it's not approved yet. Like, I'm not on leave yet. Like, you know, and then other people like, because I missed out on deployment. So like, you're not on deployment until you're on the flight and you land in Afghanistan. Like, that's how it was for people. They were so like, the army did that to me a lot. But but now, like, even games like Fallout 76, I was super psyched for. I was like, this game. I was actually considering leaving Tarkov at that point because this was like 2018, early mid 2018. I'm like, if Fallout 76 is the game that I believe it could be, I'm fucking there. You know, like, I'm gonna be playing this game every day. And then I played it, I'm like, this is boring. Like, you know, like, that sucks.
I get that. Not trying to be too hyped about it. Too hyped about things. I mean, I'm super excited about the Scav boss too. I feel like the Scav boss has added so much dynamic. I feel like all the new enemies always add a huge dynamic. I was playing reserve a lot yesterday because I just needed those beans for Kappa, and so we were just running reserve with a buddy. And there were like 4 raids in a row where we ran into Gluhar and his minions and raiders and players and Scavs and got out. And it was like the best like 4 raids I've had in Tarkov in a really long time because you take each fight differently. You take Scav fights versus boss fights versus raider fights. And so adding that into Shoreline, which is obviously a map that needs some love because it feels like if you look at a heat map of Shoreline, it's you know, just a resort. So that's super exciting. And
I think you're right there with the adding more dynamics to the game. It's like, I always talk about this, like, you add a new gun to the game and it's like cool for a week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks. And then you're like, back to the same game.
Is it meta?
But
nope.
Yeah. New ammunition. Let's talk about all the new ammos. But you add a new gun to the game and it's like, this is exciting. And then you add something like a new map, or I'm really excited for either VoIP clans / alliances / corporations / whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of things, like, that adds more than just one thing. It's adding like content and enjoyment, and you don't have to be a streamer to enjoy it. Like you could be anyone to enjoy that. And for example, clans, corporations, and that's probably the thing I'm most hyped for now, because like I really want to have declarations where I can declare war on other content creators and their groups, you know, and I can actually I can get dressed up and scroll out the parchment. I declare war, like, you know, like we can do stuff like that. And then everyone is part of the Pestily army now gears up, and they've got purpose every single raid.
Yeah.
They're going to find the fucking shitters, and they're going to kill every single one of Anton's minions every single raid, and they got purpose behind it. You know what I mean? Like, and that is bringing content within a game.
Yeah.
And it's not like, it's literally just some numbers on a screen, really. Like, you've killed this person's corporation so many times.
So think about all of the features and stuff that we know, or that at least we think Nikita wants, and then put like, I don't ever see anything like that ever making it into the game, because there's so many things that are going to take a long time for them to develop. That like, as I'm trying not to get hyped for something, like I'm trying to be cautiously.
Okay, so from a coder perspective, how hard would it be to put a name tag for a clan and literally just a screen where it says these are the members of your clan? We're not talking like clan stashes and all the other shit involved. Literally, you could just have your clan, you could have members, and you could have other clans you've declared war on, and then you have a kill tally list.
So from a coding perspective, there's a million layers to it. It's similar to the report feature. It's like, how hard would it be to add a report feature? Well, I mean, like, if you want to dumb it down to the most basic level, you add one new column to like the account table in the database that is report number, right? And then every time someone hits a button, it increments the number by 1. But then you have to hit the button at the end. So then you need to build the UI. What's the UI going to look like? What happens when you hit the button and the request to the server fails? Oh, well, you also have to implement the new request to the server. So we need a network guy, we need a UI guy, we need a UX guy. Then we also need to think about all the weird edge cases and where do we want the feature to go in the future. And it's always way more complicated.
But they've already said they're going to do it. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they also said they were going to do VoIP, and they also said they were going to do open world. And the last few times I've heard Nikita talk about it, he's basically like, the impression I get from him is he's gotten as close to saying we're not doing that as I've heard any project manager in a software thing. When they're like, it's on the backlog, there's a way of saying that it's so far down the list where we're going to ship this and none of us will be working here if and when this feature comes out, but it will be on like the end of the Trello board as the 317th thing in the backlog. That's the impression I get, at least.
I just have faith. I have faith that these things will come. They'll just come out over time.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the dev, like roadmap of 2018, which was a while ago now, and they're all in the game now, except for the arena.
Except for the arena, and they said they wanted to release the game in 2018. Other than those two things. Yeah.
So
wasn't Streets of Tarkov almost done or something? Or no, there was something that was almost done in like Nikita.
Yeah.
Did he? I'd never heard him ever say Streets of Tarkov is done.
2016 or something. I don't think it was Streets. Maybe it was Labs. Maybe it was Reserve. I don't know. But they said something. Like
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I was telling people that Nikita said Streets was next, and then Reserve came out.
And that was 2017.
I 100% just want to throw Clean under the bus. I reckon Clean said Streets was done.
I promise you,
I don't think so. Yeah,
on an interview at like some game convention.
Could have been. Actually, the Gamescom in 2016 that he was at, or 2017.
It was that. He said something was done, was like almost done, that we still don't have today. So they
actually had the hideout.
Yeah,
you could actually walk around the hideout in that video from 2016.
Yep.
Oh, maybe it was the hideout. Maybe he said the hideout was almost done.
No, for sure.
They showed a full walkthrough of the hideout, but there was no interaction. Like the hideout was there, but there was no interaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm just worried that there's so much that I think can take this game and take it to the next level and make it something that we can be playing 15 years from now, like some of the greatest games of all time. I'm always hesitant about like the don't worry, these 7 things that I believe are going to come out will fix everything. Just wait. And then it's like, I feel like if we don't say anything and we just have faith and we just wait, they're going to ship 1.0 and it's going to be exactly like this, but with 1 more map and 4 more guns. And like, oh shit.
There's 3 more maps and a heap of quests coming. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And then 1.0 is coming. I'm fairly confident of that.
Well, Nikita did mention in the last thing where they were showing off 12.7, he made some sort of like comment where he was like, we're finally getting back to developing the game. And then he like looked at the camera and he was like, don't think that we don't know you're still cheating. And if you cheat, we're going to come after you. And if you RMT, we're going to come after you. But he really made it sound like there's been a little bit of a stress release on the team side and that they were excited to like get back into like making the core mechanics of the game. Because as I understand it, I could be wrong, but I remember a big bottleneck being like getting to Unity 2018, getting some of this stuff out, and then we can really like, now we can start rolling. Well, then the drops event hit, 250,000 people bought the game, 80,000 of them since have been cheaters. And, you know, he's been on multiple podcasts and said that 33% of their total BSG man hours goes to cheating and server issues, and probably over 60% of his own time. So he just made that really quick comment. I heard it and was like, I hope so. Like, I really hope so. I really hope that things are relaxing and you guys are like getting back to it and we can really start rolling through some of this stuff.
And coronavirus.
I think some of your numbers are out a little bit. I reckon they've sold millions of copies.
I'm sure. I just meant when the drops event happened,
I get that.
They went from like 10,000 unique players to like 200,000. I bet for sure if they've banned 80,000 cheaters, there's no way they haven't sold like.
But that's like 17 people. That's the thing.
But when you look at Tarkov as a whole, they always said like, all right, when we get to this point, this is going to happen faster, and it hasn't really.
Yeah.
Like I can't even remember the dates anymore. I'm so burnt out from them. The October patch where it went to Unity 2018.
Yeah, 0.12.
Right. They announced that and said that when that comes out, they're going to be pumping out 1 map every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Right. We still haven't had a new map since October 2019. Right. So let's say like 9 months.
Yeah.
If you go back even further, the patch in December 2018 was labs.
Yeah.
And it took from labs being published then in December 2018 to October 2019.
Yeah.
So what's that? 10 and a half months, 11 months to add 2 guns. In that period, there was 2 guns added. And like, I played 200 hours a month. I loved the game to bits, but like, you know, there was no new content. They are picking up the pace with some things. I just hope that it all kind of like, it's, you know, like when you got a puzzle and you're like, you do the border first and then you start getting some things together and all of a sudden like big chunks get chucked in all together. That's what I'm really hoping is what's going to happen with Tarkov. And the worst case scenario, and this is me looking at down the negative kind of side, but if it all does go to shit, I really just hope developers around the world take notice of what Battlestate Games has done and gone, this is an original idea and we worked our fucking ass off on it and we picked an idea and we stuck with it and we made something new and fresh and exciting. And then hopefully new games in the future will actually be just that, fun and exciting, because nothing compares to Tarkov over the last few years at all. Like, people are hyped for Cyberpunk and I'm just like, I want to be.
Yeah, I used to be, but
it looks like Saints Row 2018.
I picked up Tarkov and within a week, I never wanted to play any other games. Like I was playing PUBG like religiously before it. I played for a week or two. I played Tarkov for like a week or two, and then I went and played PUBG again. I couldn't touch it. I was like, nah.
Yep.
Nah.
Seriously.
And then okay.
No, I was gonna say, I think that if you ignore coronavirus, cheaters, and all the other bullshit that they've had to deal with, it's entirely possible that like the infrastructure changes that they made with the engine and stuff have made it so that development will go faster. The thing is, I mean, think about the fact that we have that stutters have gone away for most people is huge. That's something that was probably not possible, and Steam Audio was not possible without those things having happened, or they would have taken a lot longer. The thing is that when it comes to software dev, so many changes engineering will fight for, because they're like begging the product team or whoever it is that's selling it to say this will make our lives easier as developers. Even though the end result in terms of the customer product, they're not going to see new buttons. There's not new guns. There's not new maps. There's not new screens, whatever. But it can make like building things in the future and fixing issues and stuff a lot easier. So it's hard to sell to everybody outside of the people who are writing the code, because it's not sexy and the customers don't immediately get that gratification. But over time, it can pay for itself. So that's at least my.
You go back 3 months and there's a podcast with Nikita saying, all right, we're starting Streets of Tarkov. You go a month later, there's concept art, and you go a month later and there's a full playable video up on a what I don't know what you call it, a fucking game show or something.
Oh yeah.
A games award.
Yeah.
Anyway, in 3 months, it looks like they've done a large portion of Streets of Tarkov.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you definitely can't argue with the fact that like pushing through the drops events and the cheaters and all that kind of stuff. 2020 has been a pretty solid year. I mean, there was a point where they said they wanted to do a patch a month, and like the 4 months after that, they did a patch every single month. I think 12.7 is the first time, like 12.7 technically should have happened in, June, but it's going to happen in July. But they really powered through a bunch of the updates, and there's been a lot. It's just, yeah, I mean, I think that analogy with the puzzle, where it's just like, we want those last few big like core structural things to change, whether they're back end, Unity 2019, or whether they're like, we just have to get streets in so then we can release the quests, and then with the quests we can release this, and then with this we know what I mean? We're all just kind of waiting, but it has picked up the pace a lot. And what's weird is that like Streets is an interesting thing, because like once again, like the original, you go to Battlestate Games YouTube video, the first video they ever posted was a trailer for it, and there's footage of Streets. And he mentioned at one point that they basically like, I think, and you guys could know, I think that they mentioned after they built Reserve and moved to Unity 2018, they were like, oh, we can do Streets better, and they scrapped it and they started over. That's what it felt like, because they had video of it from 3 years ago.
The main quest line, which is going to be the 1.0, is not going to be available till all the maps are done. And there's 3 maps to go. So you got Terminal, Streets, and Lighthouse. And
the suburbs not. It's on the map. Are they pushing that? No. There's
3 maps left. Okay. I'm very confident of that. And of those, after Terminal's done, Terminal's where you're going to escape from Tarkov. So I argue that I'm probably the worst Tarkov player ever to play the game, because I'm one of the most hours and still haven't escaped. So once Terminal's out in the game, you're meant to be able to, by what Nikita said, and he kind of leaked it, was it's going to cost a shitload of money and you'll be able to escape from Terminal. So we'll have to wait and see. But the thing is...
And then go play Rust?
Yeah, and then you wake up in DayZ.
That's when you go into open world, whatever the fuck that means.
You're finally awake.
I think you get a boat.
You wake up in the Skyrim, the Skyrim
and
thing.
then you like spawn again on the fucking shoreline, and you're like, ugh.
So I hadn't. I think maybe this will be the last Tarkov thing that we talk about, and then we can change gears a little bit. But it wasn't until honestly right now that I actually took more than like 2 seconds to think about it, because I've been trying to be like, just shut it out and ignore it, But turning off the flea market, if they did that, how much of an impact do you think that would have? Because I think we can agree that RMT is the, and after talking with interviewing the cheater, which you can see the video up on my YouTube, I'm willing to believe that the vast majority of cheaters now is RMT, and that RMT it existed before the flea market, but the flea market made it much, much, much easier.
Yeah.
Does that get us halfway there or 95% of the way there?
If you remove the flea market, you kill the game for casual players now. 100%.
Why is that?
I'm playing the game on my raid playthrough series, and I'm taking it kind of like I'm trying to somewhat play like a casual player would. So every day is a raid, and I'm not going in full meta gear every time. Like I could, like I was one stage I had like 3 or 4 million rubles. I could have bought like full meta gear every time, but I didn't. Because I would have gone to the flea market, paid like 1,000 rubles around for BS or 7N39. I'm just using BT ammo and stuff like that. I feel like if you take away the opportunity for a lot of people to be able to get some of that gear, it's going to make it that they'll never have an opportunity to take on those fully geared players. And like,
well, I mean, so what's different from when we didn't have it before? And I'll answer preemptively saying I know that before we didn't have a lot of the quests didn't exist that the flea market makes like viable, where without the flea market, I think they'd either have to totally redo a lot of the quests or like delete them or whatever. And then remove the limits on everything. Things.
Yeah.
Or maybe don't remove the limits. I don't know. Or maybe change the limits a little bit, because it might not be the worst thing if you can only get 300 rounds of BP ammo, let's say, but then after that you can't for the day. I don't know. Then maybe it'll be closer to early game, early wipe, Tarkov. I don't know. There's some other changes that can happen alongside this theoretical thought experiment we're doing.
I like the idea for countering RMT. 100% if it was that simple and RMT is gone, but I'm trying to just put myself in the shoes of other people just trying to play the game. And yeah, they might not get to the Kappa container. They might not even get to level 40, but it still gives them the option that, hey, I want to just muck around with mods and build a meta M4 and just some people don't even really like go into raids and like try and like do everything. They just want to like muck around with the guns and just have fun with that side of things. And I think I think it's just a little bit too far. And
do you think, is there a balance though? Could they make it so that the traders have other things on them? But so I'm just thinking about if traders have, maybe there's more things available at the traders, but then there are still a lot of things that like you can only find in raid, which makes it actually exciting when you find the thing, because if you sell it to Prapor, it's actually not, he's not going to give you a ton of money, but you can't sell it on the flea market. So you're going to use it. You're going to have all these different builds that maybe aren't necessarily meta. I don't know. I just feel like there's multiple things that they could do to make it so that it doesn't suck for new people, because it didn't suck for us for the 2 years that we played when there was no flea market. You know?
Okay, so I think the way, because there's so much stuff in the game now, man. You used to have every trader unlocked, and it would be having 4 traders at level 3 right now would be the same amount of gear. There is so much gear in the game. The way you'd have to do it is you'd have to break it down a lot more. You'd have to have, I think, 6 to 10 different trader levels. And I'd probably redo that like that now anyway. I'd redo the traders and have it, the whole UI is kind of trash because it's a clusterfuck to see anything. Look at that Viva La Dirt shit. Like, it's so funny. But you'd have to rework the traders and have it so multiple levels bracketed all the way from level 1 all the way up to, say, level 50. And at level 50, I only have the really tippy top gear. And then you'd have barter trades that would kind of give you 1 or 2 tiers up. And you'd have it so people could actually use stuff, like a lot more stuff at different levels. Because right now it's like 40, you unlock everything. And then there's so many things.
Think about it from this perspective. If you couldn't buy stuff on the flea market and things were limited, like let's say all of the good armor was either limited to some barter trades or whatever, then the ultimate Uber Chad that people feel like are unkillable, they don't have an unlimited reserve of top tier gear. They only have what they can kill and loot, and the small amount that they can buy, which maybe is 3 sets of like level 5 or 6 armor per day, and then whatever they can get in a day. I just feel like that might actually bring the average armor and gear level down a little bit, which I think it will be more exciting and maybe potentially keep the game fresh for longer for everybody, including the new players, because now their PS ammo that they get at level 1 Prap or unlimited is much more viable against level 4 and 5 than it is maybe against a full level 6 guy. I don't know. I just feel like there's other
I do agree.
Things that you can do along with that change.
There's a lot of really positive things for it. I just think I think there'd be too much of a backlash. I think that's the thing that stops it.
Well, and they spent so much time making it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what's. It's just and the thing is, it's like, what problem are we trying to solve? Is it one, or
cheaters.
Is it like everything? Or okay, so if it's just cheaters, then I think like.
So put that on.
Would you take the change? Would you take the change if it flipped the switch and got rid of cheaters?
If you asked 80% of the casual player base right now, you asked the entire casual player base right now, if the things that they've done to combat RMT have made the game less fun for the casual player, every single one of them would say yes. And I think flicking the flea market off would do that even more. And that is probably the tilting point for a large portion of players. Even if it does everything exactly right, exactly what you said, and it fixes all the problems, the majority of the casual players, they'd hit tipping point, man. If they hadn't already hit it, I think they would just be like,
because it would just be viewed perceptively as just like the cheaters ruined the game. The cheaters took my flea market. The cheaters.
I'm going to give you a video after this podcast. I made a Reddit post recently, and someone linked this Minecraft video, and it was what they did to prevent RMT in Minecraft. Minecraft? No, not Minecraft. RuneScape. And they made it so PvP you no longer took the gear from other people in PvP, and it killed the game. It went from like millions and millions of players to like fuck all in overnight. The most populated areas of the whole game died overnight, and it literally killed the game. And it took them like 3 years to get the game back to where it should have been, and they actually brought it back. But they had better countermeasures for RMT. So
I totally agree with you. There are changes that they can make that could make the game worse for everybody. I would agree that the changes that they made wasn't just for casual people, it was worse for everybody. But I also think that the state of the game, and part of this is I have to it's obvious that I'm tainted and jaded and bored with the game and annoyed and frustrated with all the other things. So that's clearly made me a little bit more of a negative Nancy. But I think like the community sentiment, backs this up to some degree, is that, how many of us loved to play labs, and now it's like you can't even go there. Every time you die, every fight is tainted with this negative feeling of I died not because I got beaten by somebody who deserved to win, but because they were cheating. Even if they weren't cheating, it still ruined it 100%. Because now you just have that feeling where you just feel like shit is being stolen from you. And to me, that's way worse than the game being a little bit more punishing for casuals, if that is the case. But I honestly think that I hope, and again, we can change the subject after this if you guys want, but I honestly hope that they can look at what they can do with the flea market and also what other changes they can make, right? Like, okay, let's say we turn off the flea market. Let's start there. Why is the game bad for casuals? Because quests, this and this and this, and backpack stacking. Okay, well then let's address all of those things individually. Let's change the quests around. Let's make it so that these items or keys have more of a spawn chance, because we nerfed all the spawns because people were farming it on the flea market, and you could get it everywhere. So there's a million changes that they made to the game that they needed to do after they changed the flea market. So if they get rid of the flea market, there's a whole bunch of other changes they can either undo, reverse, or do differently that I think could at least should be under discussion.
And I think that's a really good point to talk about, like the perception of where we are, because like it's hard to find that balance of like, well, what makes it worse or better for casuals or X, Y, or Z. And the same thing, because like the same thing happened with thermals when like towards the end of whatever that was, 11.7 or whatever, and it was just like everybody's got a thermal, and then every time people died, if they didn't see where they died from, they were like, oh my god, they have a thermal, that's so dumb. And we are so, and then it was when cheaters were really bad and stuff like that, and now we're into that spot with RMT. If they do nothing, then all the time, I die to that geared guy and he's level, 12, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, RMT. But anytime a change is made, it's still the same response. So the perception, like you're saying, is basically just tainted the entire experience, because if they keep developing the game without making changes, people get mad that RMT exists. But if they make changes because of RMT, people get mad that RMT ruined my game. So some of those arguments are almost a wash then, where it's like, well, everybody will be mad at RMT. Well, it's like, well, everybody's mad at RMT all the time anyways, no matter what, 24/7. So something has to be done at some point, and it's going to make people mad.
Blank out the flea market tab for 1 month. Just disable the tab so you can't click on it. Don't even do anything else. Just disable it and just see. So, just see if Labs is playable again.
This is where I believe that Nikita should use the game in its current state as a testing platform.
Yes, it's a beta. Change
I've
stuff.
argued this a lot, and most people, they don't fully comprehend what I'm talking about, but they should announce the wipe as soon as the wipe happens. So, all right, today we wiped. Next wipe's in 3 months. If you don't like these changes, test it, verbalize it in a constructive way, or we'll put ways up of giving feedback, and we want to see how it progresses through this. So they go, okay, this wipe's 3 months, and people can go, this is shit, I'm not playing for 3 months, right? And over that 3 months, yeah, some players might never come back, but it's a way of testing it. And you could try turning off the flea market for a period of time. You could try you could double the amount of skill XP gain.
Mm-hmm.
You could double you could triple the amount of XP per kill. Like, you could try all these different things. You could change how skills work and just go, this is how it is for 3 months, and we're going to test it around. And people could find out, like, if the game is too easy, then everyone's sick of it too quickly. If the game is too hard, then it's too hard for people to play unless you're a full-time gamer that has nothing else to do with your time. And I'm saying gamer because I played games just as much before I was streaming. I swear to fucking God. I used to get home from work and play games until 2 a.m. and then get up and go back to work again. So you don't have, like, Veritas worked a full-time job until he rage quit the other day. So, you know, like, the people can play games just as much without being a streamer, but it's their priorities or their life choices, right? Some people are married and have kids, and that's a life choice they have. But, you know, it is what it is. But the point I'm trying to make is they should use the game as a testing platform. And what they're going to do instead, which is what I reckon they'll go down the path of doing, is they'll have a test server for the testing.
Yes.
You know?
Because he talked about that, adding test servers. It's like, aren't we all on test servers?
And that's what will end up happening, which doesn't really make enough sense, because how do I test the progression of a game by my standard? Because what I do is I don't look at how quickly in life days I get to a certain level. I look at how quickly in hours of gameplay I get to a certain level. And then I go, okay, so I'm like the tippy top of the speed leveling platform. So if you were doing everything perfect, this is where you'd get to. Now, if you had a quarter of the knowledge of me, it's going to take you 4 times as long. Let's go with that theory. You know, so it takes me, 20 hours. It might take the average player 80 hours or 100 hours to get to that point. So, if they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. It's hard. And at the end of the day, we have no idea what's going on. Well, I have no idea what's going on, like behind the scenes of like how they're trying to develop it, stuff that they have. We talked about that in a previous show, where it's like a lot of the changes that they add could make a lot more sense when this other X change comes in later, and we just kind of don't know. Real quick though, I mean, I think we have some other like non-Tarkov related things to talk about, but I would love to just like really quickly get your thoughts. I'm just kind of like taking the temperature of everybody on like the switch from 80 to 85 thorax health coming in 12.7. Like, where are you on the spectrum of it ruins the game to it's the best thing for the game ever? Because I've seen every reaction in between. Like, where do you kind of land with that? Or are you just like, I don't really care, we'll see it when we see it?
I'd like to test it before I really make too much of a comment.
For sure.
But the time to kill is too quick in general. Like,
I agree. We talk about that all the time.
It's not even a health issue though. Like, I don't want to spoil a raid episode, but I shot 2 people 27 times today and didn't kill them. Like, they're clean hits, 27 shots, and I died.
With what ammo?
BT ammo, 27 hits. It was like 450 damage and like 600 armor damage or some shit. It was brutal, man.
Are you sure those only you have the whole, when you do the raid episodes, is the whole thing, right?
Yep.
You don't edit it? All right. Are you sure that you only hit 2 characters? There's not like scavs before 100%. Or after?
No, I can guarantee you, man.
It's 27 across 2 people.
Yep. I shoot at one.
That's not unreasonable. 13 or 14 bullets. I mean, if you hit arm, leg, stomach, arm,
Or it
leg.
could have been hitting slick armor the whole time. They had Altons on, I can tell you that much, because I hit him in the head a few times.
Yeah, that won't. I mean, that would account for a few of the bullets.
Yeah, not 13.
But you can shoot the arm and the leg. This is why leg meta is stupid. You can shoot the arm and the leg a dozen plus times with a bullet and not kill somebody because damage distribution is fucked.
The point I'm trying to make is it changes certain aspects, but it doesn't change all aspects.
For sure.
And I don't want it to be as simple as like a simple answer is they need to rebalance out all the armors and how it all works. But I feel like the BT ammo is meant to be like, in my opinion, it's meant to be like the staple ammo. You should be pretty safe going into a raid with BT ammo on an AK and being able to drop people in a reasonable amount of time.
16 bullets to the arm, by the way. 16 bullets at
16. So, yeah. But the thing is, it's like, it should be a reasonable amount of like ammo. It needs to be some sort of balancing point. And this is a gameism, and I know people are just like, this is where it gets fucked in my head. But it's just like adding 5 health to the chest could be the best thing that the game ever happens, because you're going to feel like, it took 2 shots from a Mosin, but then at the same time, it probably is going to be the exact same time to kill with every other, because it's really not that big a difference.
We'll talk about that. I mean, you said as soon as I asked the question, you said, I think time to kill is too short. But then you immediately brought up a scenario in the game where 27 shots didn't hit. So what was your thought there that traveled? Because like I agree that like the average Tarkov experience is time to kill is too short. Like, you know what I mean? I'm one tapped a ton. But they're even existing in that, like, and I think your point was that it's not just a health issue, that might contribute to a better experience, but it's not just the health issue, because in a game where if 9 raids in a row I'll get one tapped, then the 10th raid somebody might have BT and I might have a slick and they might hit me 13 times, and then it's hard to argue that time to kill is too short in a game like that. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. What were you thinking more about that? Like how weird that is and how it's much more complicated than, I guess, just +5 to the health.
What's the common meme? Head eyes.
Head eyes, yeah.
That's the meme at the moment, and it's just because kind of people gone down the path that they don't want to wear helmets anymore because everything's head eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things, man. Like, there's so many guns that are more and more powerful, and at the same time, there's I don't know. It's one of those things.
It's hard. It's
I
hard for
want to
sure.
wait and see.
The big issue is that there's the armor stuff is super complicated the way it works now with penetration and fragmentation, and it's going to get even more complicated when they change it. The health is already really complicated, and the formulas, I have it all mapped out on my calculations. Trust me, it's a giant clusterfuck, and they're going to make it more complicated with all these new bleeds and breaks and kinds of things. And then there's all of the HP zones that they can change. Then there's the ammo and fragmentation and how that all works. They've got all these crazy complex systems. This is why, like, when we talked about it earlier, bringing it back to the beginning, when you're like, Nikita knows where he wants the game to go. How far away is him thinking about this philosophical experience to somebody's writing the fucking formula for when you shoot a blacked out arm, when a bullet fragments and it penetrates into armor plates that has this level, that has this much damage, made of this material, hitting a zone of the body that has this much HP. Nikita is so far from that there's such a disconnect that I'm horrified. That's all.
Goes to the point. It's like, how complicated do you need a game to be?
Yeah.
Like, like, it doesn't need to be that complicated, in my opinion.
But realism.
But
actually, what would happen if you shot yourself in the arm 10 times?
Two things would happen.
16 times.
There's only 2 things that would really happen. You'd either pass out from shock or die from shock, which either could potentially happen.
Yeah.
Or your arm would just go fully numb and you'd be screaming in pain. Like, I don't think you could die.
You wouldn't be holding an FAL shooting back.
You'd bleed out if no one attached to it. But if you had 6, like, your arm's not that big and there's only so much fucking skin and bone and tissue and ligament. If you get shot in the arm 16 times,
eventually it's just going to come off.
You don't have an arm.
So then at that point, you either need to tourniquet it or you're dead.
Yeah, and right now, if you have that arm and you get shot, all it does is it takes your chest HP down 1/8 of the damage of the bullet that overflowed. So you get shot in the arm and your chest goes, you get shot in the arm, shot in the arm, shot in
But
the
you
arm.
could argue that's blood. You could argue that's blood coming out from the other parts of your body.
But what do you say? Because this, once again, this is coming off what you said before of like, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Doesn't that kind of make it more complicated, saying adding another factor if it's blacked and this and that? Or are you proposing simplifying it by just saying if an arm's blacked out and you get shot 4 times? Oh, okay. 1 health bar. Interesting.
That
1 health
work.
bar. If you get hit in the head, it's ×3. If you get hit in the chest, that's ×2. Everything else.
Making Call of Duty, stop making Apex.
Well, I mean, do you want longer time to kill or not?
I like the fact, I actually like how the health is distributed across the body. You get blacked out legs and arms and that. I think that really adds to the immersiveness of the game. But it's fucked. Like, it's fucked.
Yeah.
Imagine, see, this is my issue with, and I actually brought it up with Nikita recently, is if you are playing Tarkov and you don't pay attention to any socials, you don't pay attention to the forum, or that's pretty much it, the socials and the forum.
And the
right?
wiki?
And the wiki, doesn't really matter. If you don't pay attention to, like, most of the options, and you don't look at YouTube videos and you play Tarkov, you would be guessing every second thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the ammo I'm meant to be using now? Someone told me like 3 weeks ago the BS ammo is the best ammo to use. But holy shit, I'm using BS ammo. It's taking 40 bullets. Wait a minute, is PRS the one to go? It's like, how would you even know anything?
You would think that everything was completely and utterly broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did it just take 17 bullets? It must have been a bug, or they must have been cheating.
Yeah.
And I actually had someone brought up in my chat the other day, and I thought it was actually really brilliant. Was the fact that they keep making all these changes to do with like RMT and that, and you can potentially get banned from it. Then they need to have it somewhere in the game that says we changed these rules. You must be aware of it now, because you're starting to ban people from giving their mates gear. Like, you give your mate a full stack of every key in the game, and you get banned for it, and you're like, what the fuck? I just got banned for 3 months because I gave my mate some keys. Like, it needs to be somewhere in the game. And I feel like even changes, because I know it says in the launcher, like, it's like patch notes, but literally right next to that, like, it's also saying like Veritas just went live. So like, how much do you fucking pay attention to that shit? Like, you just click play, update and play.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying. Well, yeah, I mean, Tarkov, it's exciting and terrifying and horrifying and all things at the same time. I mean, I haven't been playing quite as long as everybody, so I still hold this eternal optimism that we'll get there one day, but we'll see. We'll see. But I do think we can shift gears a little bit. I mean, there's a few things just like general, content creation and stuff like that I'd love to hear from you, Pest. 2020 has been quite the year for the world, but I'd love to talk a little bit about how, like,
shit year.
How has this year been for you? Because I know that there's like in my notes, there's like these 2 forks that interest me about like your life. There's one of like, with the rise of popularity in Tarkov,
The rise and fall of Pestily.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that long ago. And I say that not because I've like Googled your social blade numbers. I say that because it wasn't that long ago that I was watching you with like 104 other people. And like, you know what I mean? Like, and now it's just a completely different ball game. And so that seems to me, obviously from an outside perspective, like an insanely amazing and positive thing. And then right on the flip side of that, while that's happening, you spent like the better part of a year or maybe longer planning this trip. You landed the plane and then it was like shut down. So like, how has this year just like been for you as a content creator that's growing and all these amazing things are happening, but also like thousands of miles away from home and like on lockdown? Like, how do you like reconcile that in your daily life?
Planning this trip in 2012, just to give perspective.
Jeez.
So the plan was I was going to climb the highest peak of every country of Europe. And I was going to do it in 2020 on my long service leave from the army. And I'd do it all before the world went to shit. I was out by a year, so I fucked that one up.
Just a little bit.
Now, I started streaming and I was like, if I could get 2,000 followers and they might be interested in my trip, that'd be cool, because I'm just going to film it all and then make a documentary when I finish it. that was the whole thing. I was going to couch surf. I was going to be in a car and I was going to invest all the money I had, sell up everything I had, even if I had to sell my house, and buy a car and just travel through Europe, because I want to travel and live life. I'm big on living life. And then obviously 2 things happened. Drops. So now before drops, I was averaging 3,000 to 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I still had a very solid community, and my channel was doing very well. Drops boosted it to 10K. And then this year it's kind of hung around there, which is really nice. It's a really nice number to sit on. But overall, this year was meant to be a year where I cut back on streaming and content creation and traveled. So for me, it was all about seeing every country and just trying to enjoy life. But then COVID came out, and my plan for 2021 was to just go hard on content creation and just see where I could take it. So instead, I've brought 2021 forward to 2020, and I've just been going hard. Yeah. Now, a few weeks back, Rekful passed away, and that took... My best mate killed himself, hung himself in his garage, and my nephew hung himself on a tree just outside my sister's house. So suicide for me is... It's kind of like a bit of a slap in the face to figure out, like, hey, you got to make sure you look after yourself. And so I took a few days off after Rekful. I didn't know him. I didn't know anything. Like, I knew of him. That's pretty much it. And I took some time to reflect. And this is where I came back to playing StarCraft in Half-Life, and really focus on what I enjoy. And this is why I'm pretty much at the point now where I'm saying fuck the numbers. I'm going to stream 4 days a week, 2 days on YouTube and administration, and then 1 day I'm going to spend with my wife and myself. You know, so now, even though things are going crazy, potentially I'm going to reduce my growth. And anyone who's in the content creation world would know it's a momentum thing, right? The more you do stuff, like Landmark's a perfect example. He's there every day, 12 hours, and it's just snowballing. He's only going to get bigger. Yeah. Like, he'll be the number 1 Twitch streamer for Tarkov if he's not already. You know, he's just pretty much got to knock Dr. Lupo off now. He's pretty much holding better numbers than me, and he streams longer hours than me. But it's just a matter of, I want to look after myself as well. So for the rest of this year, I'll be sticking to this schedule for the large portion of it. And then going into next year, I want to start my fishing and outdoors streams. So that's going to be me investing a lot of money into a boat with about a dozen cameras, and I'm actually going to have someone produce it on the boat. So I'm going to have someone there controlling all the cameras, and I'm going to be sitting out the back fishing, and they're going to switch cameras to underwater cameras to above cameras as I'm fishing and just talking to chat. And I'm going to have, awesome. I've seen someone do it. He's got like a stream deck on his wrist, and then like his chat on his other wrist. And I'm just going to be like looking at, like, I can switch stuff, or I can, you know, look at chat, or have a little couple of iPad docs where I can, you know.
Pip boy.
Yeah, I get your Pip boy.
And I'll be able to just
fats on that fish.
And I just want to enjoy my life, and what happens. And I've got some really cool ideas where it's going to be more about focusing on what I enjoy. I love playing Tarkov, and I love my community. I love talking every day to them. I actually find the first hour of my stream probably the most enjoyable, because I pretty much just sit there and talk to them. Whereas I'll talk with them, because after that it gets a bit crazy, and then I'm playing a lot more games. But you know, like, it's a wild ride. Yeah. And I don't think my numbers are going to go to the point where, you know, I'm like, I need to find a job. I think I enjoy what I do enough, and I put out enough content that people will stick around for it. Yeah. And there is a bit of what would you call it? It's like, there's a bit of a pattern that you just follow, and then you will grow. I think I've pretty much worked it out now. But it is scary. Like, even going over to Rust and then, you know, streaming to half the numbers, but then at the same time, I look at the end of the stream and I still get like 300 to 600 followers, and I'm like, growth is just as important as anything else. I actually don't look at sub counts or anything like that. To me, followers is the most important thing, because that's new people thinking, hey, this is enjoyable enough to stick around. Yeah. So,
but would you stream Rust to, let's say, 88 viewers? And by Rust, I mean Valorant. And by Valorant, I mean...
and by you, I mean me.
Okay, so I'll tell you this, Veritas. I would definitely not stream Valorant. at all. I don't care how much I fucking love it. If it's like I don't stream team fight tactics. And team fight tactics, yep. And I think it would be better than Valorant. The main reason is Valorant's not enjoyable to watch. And as a viewer, the viewing experience is important. So it doesn't matter.
Wait a minute. That's your opinion about Valorant. I don't think Rust is enjoyable to watch, but I wouldn't say that Rust is not enjoyable to watch because look at Hiko and all those other guys that have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 viewers
on
Valorant every day.
So the Valorant,
I might not be interesting to watch on Valorant, but
I don't even think Anton would be interesting to watch on Valorant, and Anton's really entertaining as just a person. Like he's comical, he's funny, he's pulling jokes nonstop. Like you and I, we can't do that. Not like he does. You know, this is just my opinion, and I think you'll find a lot of people don't enjoy watching Valorant as a stream. So what I would do is I would actually pick a game that I enjoy streaming or I enjoy playing, and I would stream that isn't Valorant. I'd find something that's a bit more stream friendly. So the perfect example for me is in
only
Rust.
One of those games existed.
Tarkov is the perfect game, right? It's honestly the perfect streaming game.
Yeah, it really is.
And I can only stand it for an hour a day now. And
I know. But the thing is, there's so many streamers that go, oh, I'm going to try other games. And they go and play other games and their viewers plummet because it's not even like they just don't need to understand that Tarkov is like the perfect streaming game.
It's so good.
It's hard to play. People don't want to invest the time in it, but it's enjoyable to watch. It's got build-up moments. It's got good gunfights, and it's got downtime where you just focus on your chat and talk with your chat. Now, you look at a game like Apex Legends where you are just constantly go, 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 right? So it's very repetitive. There's no downtime to talk to chat. You don't have all that other stuff. Rust actually has the base building side where you're sitting inside your base or it's nighttime. And when it goes to nighttime, I put the jazz music on. I'm sitting back. I'm talking shit with chat, and we're just having a good bit of old banter.
Yeah.
But then after you get out of your base, it's actually a bit of a story mode kind of thing where it's like I'm off on an adventure and let's see what happens on this adventure. And then you might get some kills, you might get some loot, and then you build your base a bit more. And then you sit back and put the jazz music back on. Like, I'm just using Rust as an example, but I
know what you're saying. I would say that it's, I would disagree with the game being the main thing in that what it is it's almost like a Venn diagram of, if you look at the Rust circle and the Escape from Tarkov circle, there's so much more overlap.
Yep.
If you look at the Valorant and Escape from Tarkov, there's not as much overlap. If I had 10,000 people on CSGO, I would have 8,000 on Valorant, right? If I had 10,000 on Minecraft or Raid Shadow Legends and then went to Valorant, or if I went to Tarkov, you'd lose all of them, right?
You're right.
There's nothing wrong with Valorant itself, and you can see that from the number of people that are watching Valorant. I don't know how many are, but I'd be willing to bet you that it might be more than Tarkov now. I don't know. It's not the game. It's that people like watching Tarkov. They like watching me. Some people like watching me play Tarkov more than those people like watching me play Valorant. But that's not to say that there isn't a market for someone like me to watch insert game here. It's just a different market. It's the same thing with my music and with my software stuff. When I put out a video of me playing music, like 2,000, it gets 2,000 views, and people are like, this is some of the best content I've ever seen on YouTube, but I lose 25 subscribers on YouTube, which is why I made a new music channel. But that's not to say that like you shouldn't do that. It's just that you need to know at least that it's a different audience. And I'm personally okay with that, and that, maybe I can grow audience in a different place. And there's still a nice core that stays with me. It's fucking tiny compared to, if I play Tarkov, I'll probably end up with 800 or 900 people for the next few hours. If I switch to Valorant, I'll be at 120 in no time, and 80 of those will be sleeping and lurking. But
it's interesting though.
Like
the lurkers are just as important, man.
For sure.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there they just need that community to hang out, and they're having a tough day, and you're that voice that just gives them a place to relax. So don't knock the lurkers.
It's interesting because I feel like there's multiple parts to it. It's like it's like, what does the game need, and then what does your audience need? Because I feel like when you were just throwing out a bunch of those different games, like, because I agree with what you're saying, where it's like Valorant in and of itself isn't like wholly not entertaining or like perfectly entertaining. It's really just about like certain games require certain things to be more or less entertaining. Like games like I don't know, games like that would probably be, you require more skill, because like you were saying, Pestily, there's less of like downtime moments. Like a game of Valorant takes really long compared, because it's like best to like 12, right? And that can be 12 or 13, and that can take a really long time if it's 11 to 11. But a game like Tarkov, where there's so much downtime and a lot more just talking and chatting, then a personality can be the most important thing for a Tarkov streamer because of how much downtime and their time spent in the menu. But I could never play like CS or a super skill-based game because I'm not that good at it. And if I don't have time to talk to chat, I'm not going to be entertaining. It doesn't make CS not entertaining. It just means that like I can't be that entertaining with that game. So it's like, what does the game need? And then what is the like style of streamer? Like I've never seen anybody do so well as Deadly Slob. Like sometimes he'll end a stream, he'll try a new game, and like 2 hours in, he'll end Tarkov, he'll try a new game, and 2 hours in, he'll be like, chat, I had so much fun. We're never playing this game again. Cause it's just like, I can just tell that it's not going to fit for the channel. I love this game though, but we're never playing it again. But then sometimes he'll hit something like SnowRunner was like I watch him a lot. I used to just have him on at work because for my time slot, he was just like always on. He hit SnowRunner and he was so apprehensive to play that game. And his chat, he lost like 7% of his viewers going from Tarkov to SnowRunner, even though those games have absolutely no overlap, because his style of streaming, the memes and the voices and the hilarity, that translated perfectly to SnowRunner. So it's not all one thing or all another thing, where it's like Tarkov's not like SnowRunner, so it's going to be bad. There's like multiple, mixtures there, and it's just like finding that perfect balance.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Valorant has 100,000 viewers right now. Tarkov has 20,000, and Valorant has twice as many followers, and it's been around for what, like 2 months?
Yeah.
So the viewership is absolutely there. I just know that my Venn diagram, it's a tiny slice that overlaps into Valorant, where, if I played Rust or whatever, I'm sure a lot more people would stick around. But honestly, I'm going to be playing Valorant for the most part, a little bit of Tarkov every now and then when I can fucking bear it and when there's updates. And I'm waiting for the next thing. It might be Kerbal Space Program 2. It might be something, it might not be the same genre. And honestly, I almost look at it just like with my second YouTube channel. I almost look at that like it's almost a challenge for like, let's see if I can do this again, right? Like, like when was it Michael Jordan played baseball or whatever? Like, can he be good at baseball? It's interesting. Like, I kind of see that as a challenge where I'm like literally the only downside to having 120 viewers or whatever. Like, I don't personally care, because if I didn't do it, I would have no viewers, right? If I was just playing, I would. Then those 120 people wouldn't be hanging out with me, and I don't care. The only downside is that people come in and say, Psh, dead streamer. And it's like, okay, like,
dude, they said I had a dead stream.
How many followers do you have? Yeah. This guy had 100K viewers 2 months ago. What happened? It's like, well, I'm doing a just chatting stream.
So I agree. I do agree to a large point, but at the same time, like, it has to fit your style.
Yeah.
So, for example, for me, you know what game or category I think I would be next best fitted in? Just chatting. I think I would fit really well in just chatting. We just talk about army, life, games, watch some YouTube videos. I spent a good hour of today looking at super yachts.
But your community, I think, would love that. But do you think that you would grow there is the question.
I think my biggest issue with growing there would be I wouldn't want to get involved in the just chatting drama. I get along with a lot of the streamers already over there.
Pestily nip slip, to be honest.
I would be like, did you hear what so-and-so said? I'm like, fucking grow up. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'd be like.
Maybe that would be why you would grow, though. You'd be so different. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I guess there's the difference between. I still look at this as a hobby for me personally. I've got like job interviews and stuff coming up. I've got a bunch of people reaching out to me. So I'm not playing Valorant to be strategic. I could stream another game that I don't feel like playing anything else. So I could not stream for 0 people, or I could stream Valorant for 100 people. It might not be great strategically, or I mean, it could potentially be, well, now when another game comes out, well, now I have a tiny base from Valorant and a much bigger one from Tarkov that maybe overlaps. Maybe not. I don't know. But again, I'm not trying to do it to be strategic.
I think if Twitch would fix their fucking categories, like I'm going to be fishing in the just chatting category because I'm just going to be chatting it while I'm fishing.
With a bikini on?
No, I'll have a big fucking marlin or some shit, dude. Just flopping off the back of the boat. But like, in all seriousness, like if Twitch would fix their categories, because right now if I go to outdoors, let's have a look. Outdoors. They've actually put some effort into the music category, which is nice.
Yeah.
So travel and outdoors has 640 viewers. I reckon if I streamed fishing in travel and outdoors, I'd probably have 3,000 or 4,000. If I do it in just chatting, I honestly think I'll have 10,000 viewers.
Yeah.
I think my first just chatting fishing stream is going to hit 10,000 viewers.
And there's no growth in travel and outdoors because only 600 people are there. You know what I mean? There isn't hundreds of people every day to go, oh, who's this new person at the top? And then click on it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about being the travel and outdoors guy.
I own the category.
Right? Like, I mean, if you were to go there and with 6,000 or 7,000 people, you would be the category. In just chatting, you would be amongst the sea of, whoever the fuck all of these people are that I don't know, but the ones I see in live stream fails or whatever for like kicking their animals or whatever the fuck it is that they do. 18 plus. Oh god. Oh okay.
18 plus fishing stream.
No, the thumbnail. Anyway,
yeah.
I just think Twitch has some work to do with that side of things, but to stream outside of Tarkov is probably the most daunting thing for a Tarkov streamer. It's the most daunting thing you can do because you're worried about where your channel's going to go. But at the same time, you should be diversifying your channel anyway. Now, I don't know how much you make off your YouTube channel, Veritas, but I would say that, like, for me personally, I have to pay my editors. So I run ads on my YouTube content, and then I want to get paid for the time and effort it takes me to organize the editors and make the recordings and do all that stuff on top. I now make enough money on my YouTube channel that I could survive off it. So therefore, I could go variety on Twitch and then have the no stress about my subscriber count or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, this again, because this is a hobby.
Yeah,
like, I don't care, right? Like, it's all.
But there's a lot of people that do care.
Right. Yeah. No, I would agree. And I mean, honestly, like, if whatever it is that like I recommend or would advise people, I mean, I don't think I'm qualified for any of that shit, but like, everybody has their own situation and they all have their own goals and they all have their like where they want to be and what they want to do to be happy. And that's up to them to educate themselves and to figure out, what they want to do. If I was the breadwinner in my family, if my wife wasn't a pharmacist, and I, had all the same goals and desires and bills and everything, I would probably be playing Tarkov and I'd probably be fucking bitter and depressed and miserable and it wouldn't be great. I'd probably honestly quit streaming and go do something else, because if it was stream Tarkov and how the game feels and how the community is dictates whether I feel like I'm successful or enjoying myself or don't, it's going to be don't, at least right now. But, also taking a break and doing something else for a couple of weeks, maybe I'll get back to Tarkov and it'll feel fresh and new in 12/7. Maybe not. Maybe it'll feel like shit, right? It's like going back to somebody who you've broken up with 17 times. It's like, maybe this time it'll be better, and maybe it will. There are plenty of love stories that end that way, and but plenty that don't. So we'll see.
I think my biggest advice though is, you need to diversify. If anyone has learned anything from Mixer and the shutdown of Mixer, is you can't put all your eggs in the one basket.
Yeah.
If you want to be a full-time Twitch streamer, well, you're gonna have to put some effort into YouTube and socials or something.
Mm-hmm.
So then if Twitch overnight goes to shit, what are you gonna do? If your game dies overnight, what if the Tarkov servers just go, bam, they're off. Now what?
World War III with Russia. Russia's banned.
Russia's banned. Yeah.
But like that's the thing. Like so something goes, your whole world just crashes overnight, and there's big Tarkov content creators right now who would freak.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're sitting at a point where they're probably making half decent money. But that would very quickly change if they had to move to a different game. And if they didn't have a YouTube to support it or something else going on.
So you're saying more diversify, not necessarily away from one game or both, like as far as like the type of content you make and the focus of that content, like both. Either do you feel like one's important? And the reason I ask is because as the person who represents the smaller, creator here, like, and I'm very humbled to be able to talk to you guys, but you know what I mean? Like Veritas, you're saying like, I play Valorant to 120 viewers. When I get 150, 160 viewers, I'm having a really good day. So as somebody who's there, and both of you grinded really hard throughout Tarkov, I think about this all day, every day. Like, you know what I mean? About like the short-term versus long-term growth, diversifying content or diversifying games, or both, when, how, why. Like it's just, I guess, different in the different
Are you a full-time streamer now? Sorry, I'm a little bit out of date.
No, I am as of very, very recently. I was let go due to COVID. So,
okay. So if Twitch was to disappear right now, what would you do?
Like Craigslist job postings.
Craigslist job posting. No, I mean I'd probably go back to doing like food service or stuff that I'd done in the past that I can get here.
But do you want to be a full-time content creator? Because
I do. Well,
so how important is YouTube to you? Like, I'm
very important. No. Yeah. Very important. As of my commitment to
And so you're killing it on YouTube.
If you're putting 50 hours a week into Twitch, I almost want to say you should almost be putting the same amount of time into YouTube. My biggest mistake was I only would put in. This is going to sound so fucking ridiculous. I only probably put in about 20 to 30 hours a week into YouTube.
Yeah,
I put in about 3 to 4 hours a night for every single night.
No, for sure. I mean,
I stream 50 hours a week.
I would definitely, Well, if we're talking right now, if Twitch disappeared to support my wife and child, I would have to go get another job. But if we're talking like, what would I do as far as absolutely like, so I lost my job. I just officially transitioned to full-time streaming. And I think at least for the foreseeable few months, I'm only going to stream like 4 or 5 more hours a week than I did before. And the other 36 hours a week I spent on my full-time job, I'm committing to YouTube over the next few months, because it's like, hey, I've got this time. Yeah.
You want to know some crazy facts? I could spit these all out. Yeah. Okay. So the biggest money makers on Twitch, you probably say, would be maybe Summer XQC.
Yeah.
They're probably making 2 to 3 million a year on Twitch. Right. And that's the tippy top. That's right at the very top. Right. You could be top 1,000, not even in the top 1,000, and make 2 million a year on YouTube.
Yeah.
But just a perspective, the amount of audience and the money you can make on YouTube, it's definitely worth the time. There's more people watching it. There's more discoverability. Like I wish I hired editors day one. In all seriousness, day one on Twitch, if I could have afforded it, I wish I hired editors. I've got 2 editors now, and they're epic guys. They see the same vision as me, and they're working really hard. And I'm excited how far in just the last 2 months my YouTube channel's growing like crazy. I had 7 million views last month. Like that's a shitload of views. Are you past
1 a day now? Are you posting multiple videos some days?
I've been doing 2 a day now for about 3 or 4 months.
Because you committed to daily a long time ago, didn't you?
Yes. Like I was doing 5 a week for the first 2 years, and then I went to daily.
Yeah, that's insane. And now we'll 2 a days.
That when Pestily got multiple editors, not too long after that, I ended up with his help finding somebody to that's been doing editing for me. And I mean, the quality of the edits are just fucking night and day compared to mine.
Yeah.
Because they're actually like know what the fuck they're doing and aren't just doing it in their free time, and it's a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
And it's I'm excited to see my own videos.
That's cool. Yeah.
I've been staring at this 10-minute thing for 3 hours. I'm so sick of the same clip I've seen. Now it's like, oh shit, it's a surprise every time I get to see it. And right now, I honestly thought I was going to be losing money. But I would say that I'm at the worst, even with Valorant videos. I'm having to do Valorant videos, and I probably lose 6 or 7 subs or whatever from people that are like, oh fuck this, I don't want to watch this content anymore. But even those are still making pretty much what I pay for a video. So to me, I think it's a worthwhile investment.
To give a perspective, like my first ever raid episode of season 1, like that took me hours and hours and hours to make, and putting down my ideas and doing all that. And then you put it to the first episode of season 2, and you put them next to each other, you'd be like, this one's trash compared to this one. All the knowledge and information is in both episodes.
Yeah.
But the production quality,
watchability.
Yeah.
So yes.
Has the engagement gone up, like the average watch time, or is that fairly consistent? Because I find out people
That's a good question.
I'm getting 100,000 views a raid episode now. Now, last season I think was around 60,000. But
your audience has grown since then. So I want to know what the average watch time is on the other one. Because if it's gone from 6 minutes to 8 minutes in like a 12-minute video, that's
highlight videos
considerable.
Heaps better. A highlight video back in the day used to get like 20,000 views. They get 100,000 consistently.
Yeah.
And because they're cleaner cuts, cleaner edits. Yeah. And that's their job. Their job is to watch it. And I'm going to be giving both my editors a pay rise. They already know it's coming, but it's like they'll be getting a pay rise. And I never want them to go anywhere else, like legitimately.
So would you real question, you know what I mean? I know you made the joke, like, I wish I hired editors day one. Is that something that you would prioritize? Like you would have prioritized much, much earlier as someone who wants to dive deeper into the YouTube game and stuff
You are a subject matter expert on what you do, right? So you put a lot of time and effort into playing Escape from Tarkov and content creation Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah.
Why waste any more of your time honing and increasing your skills in editing and YouTube, in video making, when there's someone already out there who's put thousands of hours into it?
Yeah.
And you can pay them the same, if not less than the video is going to make. So then you can actually come out and profit. You don't have to worry about those 4-6 hours of edit, but you can put all that great knowledge presented really well into a video and up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you get more time to build better content for them to edit and then put that up. And then and YouTube's momentum just as much as fucking Twitch. So then consistent
the problem is that money investment is
exactly
how much how much is it? Like if you think about, all right, if it's going to take you 2 or 3 hours, I'd feel bad paying an editor $8 an hour, right? Or whatever. Like, even though there may be a college kid that might be talented and maybe he'd be making only 10 or 15 bucks an hour, but it's like, it just feels shitty for someone to put a video together, but that video might only make you $11. So should you pay them $75 or $100 for every video? And if you're going to do 4 or 5 a week, well, now that's,
I sat down and said, I wanted 50 videos a month. How much do you want to get paid a salary for that?
You were also looking at yachts earlier today. So,
but that's the thing is exactly like, you know what I mean? If I'm looking at doing that, I'm not looking at it like, I totally understand what you mean.
Whoa. I was not going to buy a super yacht. The one I was looking at was minimum 2 million euros.
You were looking at them.
That's fucking interesting.
But so I'm looking at
what I mean. You know what I mean.
My wife that kill me.
I'm looking at it from the perspective of like, it's those are the two things, it's time and money, really, because like, to be honest with you, I've put probably close to 1,000 hours into editing videos as well, because that's what I did for a really long time. So, but it's the, at what point does it make sense monetarily? Because I have no idea how much you pay an editor, you know what I mean? And then it's
transparent to you about your income.
What do you mean?
Well, like, okay, so if you're making, you don't have to answer these questions, but if you're making, I don't know, anywhere between 2,000 and 4,000 a month on YouTube, I would 100% be investing all that straight back into YouTube.
I'd be very. I am not making that right now. and I
would run at a loss then. I would 100% run at a loss then.
Because is it more of a quantity thing? Like it's because YouTube is a game where it's like quantity is almost as important as quality, but editor is what brings both. It brings the ability for a higher
is
quality.
Probably more. It's probably more. Unfortunately, there's
no, seriously. But that's where I'm at, is that I can edit a video in an hour or less because that's just what I do. But if by paying somebody I can just pump out more than I can physically do, it's really the quantity thing. You know what I mean? Is getting as many out, but then by hiring it, you're ensuring that quality as well, right? You're not just giving it to anybody.
So, his name's Harris Heller.
Oh yeah, big Harris Heller fan.
Right. I wouldn't call myself a fan, but he's got some very good points. He's actually very knowledgeable.
He is.
And there was a video where he talked about how he got an editor and he was paying him $2,000 a month. And his YouTube wasn't even making that much at that point. And then the second his YouTube started getting any sort of traction, he gave him a pay rise to $3,000 a month. I would be talking to someone about doing something similar. I want the quality to be at this level. I want to post this many videos. And when we get to this point, I want to give you a pay rise straight away because you're worth it. You prove to me that you're worth it, and then we'll go there. And I think that's, you both, like I said, my two editors, they got the same vision as me. They want to build a channel and have a really good success from it. So yeah, like, man, like I said, I wish I did it so long ago.
That's good perspective.
And it's, I'm talking like, it's even before I had enough money. My YouTube, if I looked it up, my YouTube made maybe $800 a month before October last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like somewhere around $800 a month. And I could tell you why, because I didn't run any mid-rolls. I didn't even put an ad at the end. I did nothing. It was just the forced ad that YouTube does for the starting monetization bit.
Yeah.
And then I started putting ads in, only one ad in, and the end ad at like the start of this year. And then when I had the editors come on, because I want to make sure I'm paying them and all that, and we get more money from that, I've started adding, I do one ad every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
100% worth it. And because I'm paying editors, like I can justify, if anyone complains about it, I'll say, yeah, I'll give you a refund of nothing because that's how much it costs you to watch my video. So
yeah. No, that's good. I mean, it's good. It's good perspective. You know what I mean? As somebody who is just, I'm always racking my brain about that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And what the smartest move is. And it's always super scary, right? To move out. Any sort of financial decision is always super scary to be like, pay somebody to do something or anything like that. So I appreciate the perspective. It's interesting.
You know, YouTube compilation Twitch videos, like WTF Tarkov and all those other ones.
Yeah.
They've got like 5 mid-roll ads.
Yeah.
Like, go in incognito mode and then load up their YouTube video and see, or do it on your phone and see how many ads you see in the middle of those. Some of those channels would be making $100,000 a month. If they're getting
off of their original content.
Like, I'm being 100% legit. There's a reason why I've messaged them all, because one of them had fucking RMT selling at the start of it.
Yeah.
And the other ones didn't ask any sort of permission. So any of the ones that didn't ask permission, I messaged them and said, no more. Because I just saw how many ads they had. I'm like, I feel dirty putting 2 ads in a 10-minute video. And these guys are doing fucking 5. I was like, pfft.
Yeah, and there's the reason why it feels shitty is because I feel like, because I have my face here and I can like look at the camera and talk to the community, I'm accountable in some way, right? Like someone can say, hey bro, why the fuck did you have 19 Raid Shadow Legends ads in the middle of this video that with a clickbaity title? Whereas someone like that is, I'm WTF Tarkov 978412. I could just put my shit up and walk away from it, and I'm not getting hate mail, right? Like saying, fuck you, Mike. I hate your guts. Where do you live?
True.
You know?
That's so true. Yeah.
It's
the
just
channel
this
name
anonymous fucking shit post.
Some of my best clips. And then they're like, there would be people out there and they would just be making 40 different YouTube accounts, and all they'd go to is the top 30 or 40 Twitch streamers, last 100 clips or top clips for the last like 48 hours or 7 days or whatever. Download all them, put them all out, and they're probably making. I wouldn't be surprised they're making $1 million a year from doing it. It'd be a full-time job, but hey, they're making $1 million a year.
Yeah, but it's brain dead. Right click, download the fucking video, and put them all, with an intro and an outro.
2 days a week, 2 to 3 days a week to do it.
To make 7 videos a week.
Yeah.
And then they're making like 6 figures plus.
Oh, don't give all these people the fucking idea.
Yeah. There's gonna be like 11 more Tarkov channels pop up tomorrow.
But then they flood it, and then we fix it.
No, for sure. It's interesting stuff.
But yeah, to me, it's just you should be diversifying. That's the point.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
As long as it's not Valorant.
No, I never said that. I never said that at all. I just said I wouldn't do it. It's a difference.
Well, because you're dog shit at games.
You know what rank I got in CS? I
1v1
played
me,
CS the
Bo.
other day.
When? In 1999?
No, I played like a week or two ago. I played
What was your matchmaking rank?
It put me at silver. I was Silver Master Elite, and I haven't lost a game since. I've done I think 7 or 8 competitive.
Silver Master Elite, and you haven't lost a game? Holy shit, dude! That's actually impressive because it's hard to get through a game if it had silvers in it without hitting Alt F4.
It's been fun. I've just been rolling through everyone. So I think I'm Nova 2 or Nova 3 now because I haven't lost a game. It's like quick leveling me up.
Play Valorant. We can't play.
Okay, is that because I'm Europe?
No, I think I'm pretty sure I could make an account. My ping would just suck and it would be not fun. But I want to watch you play Valorant.
I just didn't find it fun. 100%. I played it. I had the access to the closed beta and that, and I was just like, I'm not even going to stream this.
To each their own.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, if I'm not having fun, then no one's going to watch me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
interesting.
But yeah,
I mean, I think that pretty much does it for all the shit we want to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
it picked my brain enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your check is in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
For the consulting fee, the content creation consulting fee.
Yep.
100%. I'm actually going to start a YouTube channel talking about that stuff. I'm going to
Nice.
be very transparent about a lot of it. So that's going to be starting hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. I look
like
forward to that.
Content creation and stuff
It's
in
going to
general.
be pretty raw. I'm going to be pretty brutal about a lot of stuff. But I'm not here to, sugarcoat the content creation world. It's a fucked up thing that we do. Like, it's not a healthy job. I work 80 hours a week, but it's every moment I'm awake. It's not 80-hour weeks. It's more like 100 plus. And the only time I take off is when I sleep. I don't take days off. I don't do other, I might play a couple of games in my downtime before that's me switching off my brain so I can go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play every tactics or something.
Every moment you're not making content, you feel like you are not it's like having imagine if there was a money printing machine that as long as you were cranking the wheel, it was spitting out dollars. And it's like, I really want to go and have dinner with my wife, but 5 more minutes, babe. Let me,
pretty much.
It's not like that, to me at least.
No, but I mean,
yeah, just
don't you ever feel like anytime, let's say you downloaded a game and you started playing it and you were liking it, do you ever look over at OBS and be like, fuck, I should hit start recording because this is a funny video, right? Or
my first time playing Rust, I actually said, you know what? I've never played Rust before. I'm going to record this. And I made a video and it got over 100,000 views. Called it my first time playing Rust. People loved it. Now they want to see me play more Rust. So I never even thought that would actually occur from it. So it was worth doing it. I actually watched the video back and I'm like, do I want to post it? I did. People loved it.
But that's what he's saying though, right? It's like you can't exist and be doing anything else and not be thinking, would this make a good video? Would this do a good thing? Should I make something about this? When you're in it, it's but it goes back to what you're saying, where 80 hours a week, it's really 100. Your thought process is always there. It's always on what am I doing?
The biggest thing you can do as a content creator is not block out any creative thoughts. I know that sounds like a really simple thing, but you know how many times you get a thought and you're like, oh, nah, that's not going to work, or nah, it's too much. That's too much work. Those are some of my best ideas.
Yeah.
Those ones that have been a bit out there. What if I went 1 to 40 at the start of a what without stopping, no sleep? That put me on the fucking map. I went from 30 viewers to fucking 100. You know, like some of those crazy ideas that, and my wife was like, "How are you going to do it?" I'm like, "You're going to feed me and bring me water, and I'm just going to play games."
It's pretty.
And we
simple.
sat down, we built a plan. I just won't sleep. But I had a notebook and pen next to my desk, and I wrote down every single idea I ever had, any criticism about the stream, as long as it was like, you know, proper criticism, not, yeah, streamers suck. Like, it was like, you know, your green screen's a bit fucked. All right, write down, fix green screen after the stream. And, you know, like, then I'd play around with green screen. And now I've automated it a bit more with like Trello and stuff. And I do all that stuff on Trello. But yeah, like, it's creativity breeds more creativity, and you just start going on these weird thought processes. Like, you're going to see some random fucked up shit by the end of this year. Trust me.
All my Welcome to Tarkov or Welcome to Hell video series, that was like a really bad drug trip that most people still haven't seen because it exists before I got like decently sized on YouTube. That I feel like a lot of people are like, whoa, what the fuck is this weird dark part of Veritas' channel that I've never seen before?
They're so great though.
Why is he masturbating to the pig room? What, and is he wearing a wig? What the fuck? What just happened?
Do you remember the pews?
Oh, wow, holy fuck. I remember being on that. Yeah.
Imagine if I redid that now. Got my full suit, fucking shirt and tie. Hello guys, and this is the pews.
Well, that shows you that
all Tarkov news and Pestily content.
It's like,
let's crack straight into it.
It's like hot guns. As soon as I stopped hot guns, now there's 100,000 people that are all like, we want hot guns. It was like, well, you didn't want it when I was fucking spending 100 million hours editing it all together to get 700 views. But now I think it would do a lot better because it's not about the content. It's about, it's like, it's not how smart you are. It's how much money you have, you know, to start. Which is part of the fucked up stuff that I think Pestily was talking about, where once you get more successful, then it's just easier to keep building off of that success, and you have that momentum, and things will work that wouldn't work if you had 100 subs versus if you have 100,000 subs. The video is going to perform differently because it's not a meritocracy so much. It's closer to a popularity contest.
What would happen if I gave my editors, I filmed the new Pews episode and gave my editors the, like, you know, to see how it went.
It
would obviously do fucking great and people would love it. And then
it would.
There'd be a huge demand for it.
It really, you know, it's all the YouTube algorithm, man. That's the Lord. And once you're in it, exactly, it's gonna keep going. I mean, I was watching a video the other day about content creators that were saying that videos about similar topics that were similar lengths were getting double, triple, or quadruple the amount of views, and the only difference between the two videos was one had ads in it, because YouTube wants to make money. So they're just going to show your video more, and they're getting more views because it has ads in it. So it's just like it all, the popularity contest thing. That's all YouTube wants to know. Who wants to watch this person?
Maybe that will rekindle my love for Tarkov if I just see it as a game within a game now. Like, the game show is, even though I don't want to fucking play the game anymore and there's nothing to do, maybe I want to see Pestily build me a gun and have it compete against Slush Puppy's gun in hot guns, and I get to make fun of them.
How do you think, in all seriousness, how do you think I've played Tarkov as much as I have? I've just done whatever I thought was fun. No, it's been 100%. I've just done whatever I thought's fun on that day.
Because you've had to make mini games out of it.
Yeah.
And that gives you energy when if you wouldn't be doing 0 to 40 Tarkov streams if you had 14 viewers. I honestly don't think you would. You're willing to do some of the things that you do because of the return you get, and the return you get makes you more willing to do more things. It's just like you wouldn't be paying an editor $100 a video, let's just say, if your videos were making you $1 and there wasn't a prospect of them growing and making more, right? There's a point where things become worth it, and where the investment you put in should pay back in dividends.
True. But to me, it's about enjoyment, man. Like, I couldn't do another 0 to 40 anymore. I just don't want to. It's just not enjoyable. The last time I went to try and do a 48-hour stream, this isn't the drops one. There was actually a stream before it where I was going to try and do 0 to 40. Sorry, it was a 0 to 40 stream, and I was going to go for 48 hours. And it was to get to the highest level I could in 48 hours. And I got 33 hours into the stream, and I was not having fun. And I pushed through 3 more hours of it, and I stopped. And it was a subathon, and they already paid for nearly the entire 48 hours. And it was the last time I ever did some sort of subathon because I was just like, I felt so guilty.
You fraud.
I straight away was like, I don't know what to do. I'll give away a heap of merch. I'll just gift subs. I don't give a fuck. What do you guys want me to do? Because I feel horrible about this. And everyone was just like, keep the money, because I just was not having fun. And I'm going to always be like that. I can't stream without having fun. Yeah. And you'll know when I'm not having fun. I'll just be like, I'll look at the clock and I'll go 1 hour, I'm out. I'm like, that's my rule. Stop having fun. 1 hour, I'm out. Then it's like, knock off. And I'm off to fucking do anything else but play Tarkov.
Yeah.
But do it, man. Do the hot guns. Do whatever you find fun in Tarkov. If you're sitting there just making guns for the entire stream, but see, the best thing I do for me is I actually just research YouTube content on stream. So then I'm doing 2 birds with the 1 stone. I'm entertaining my chat because they're finding out information. I'm enjoying myself because I'm actually learning stuff about Tarkov, and then I'm getting content ready for the editors. And that's what I enjoy. I like teaching people and making content for them.
Yeah.
About teaching, because my whole YouTube channel is based around it. It's perfectly okay to not to stream without fun. That's a double negative. So does that mean it's perfectly okay to stream for fun?
Absolutely.
Nobody would be mad at you for not streaming if you were not having fun.
Correct.
Except Pestily Labs.
Except
we didn't touch on that earlier, but when you talked on labs, I actually thought about that when you were talking about it. I can't go labs anymore because it's pretty much what you said. I went into a labs raid recently, and I just ran straight into the bathroom because my wife dropped off some food, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to eat my food for the next 5 minutes. If anyone comes and kills me, they're a cheater. That's what I said. And I was like, just 2 minutes later, I was hidden. There was no way you could find me, without knowing I was there. No one would go in there. And like fully sprinted up to me. You heard him running the whole way across the map. It's like, I'm like, fuck off. This just makes me not want to play this map.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Speaking of, you guys will have to, I'll tell you guys off stream, the 1,200 people don't get to know, but there was something I learned that was really interesting that the cheater had told me that I cut out of the video. And I even said, I cut that out. And it's something that they do that's really clever that may help them catch cheaters. That I thought was interesting, and I wanted to remind me to tell you guys after.
So you don't want to tell everyone because you want BSG to know?
Yeah.
No, it's something that BSG may or may not be doing. I just don't want to tell because then there might be ways around it, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would do nothing other than it would make all the legit people chuckle and cheaters potentially not get in trouble, so fuck that. It's not worth it.
But
labs is rough. Yeah.
It's a shit show.
I think you missed out on the president run, Veritas, where we did the president runs.
Yeah.
We're going to do that again, but my wife's going to be the president. And so we have to escort her through all the maps. And it should be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing.
We need to do the team hot guns. Everyone, this was like a year and a half ago. I was like, everybody submit your gun builds, and nobody fucking did. And then I never made another hot guns after that. That's the reason why hot guns died, by the way. Blame it on everybody in the team, except Sigma. Dude. She wasn't a part of the team yet, so you can't blame her. It's everybody else.
How often do I go, all right, who's good for the podcast? And then crickets. I put the work in, mate. I put the work in. I try and prep everything.
So do I. It's just Anton doesn't answer anything, and Slush is always sleeping. Okay.
But Anton's been good with the podcast recently. All right. So should we thank the sponsors for this today's episode?
There are no sponsors for this episode, unless Pestily wants to be the sponsor and
Yeah, sure. So for today, we're going to be thanking our sponsor. What the fuck's your merch? Come on.
I don't have merch right now. I'm redoing everything from scratch.
Ooh.
Everything.
Yeah, so Jessekazam. So twitch.tv/Jessekazam, our sponsor of today's podcast. Thanks so much for that, Jesse. It really does help with being able to continue these podcasts into the future. So go down, link below. Make sure you go give him a follow over there. Otherwise, if you're watching on Spotify, SoundCloud, or Apple Music, do what you need to do there.
Anything I can do to help.
Can I do a plug real quick?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because it might be a bit different audience. So 1st of August, guys, Starlight charity event. We're trying to hit the $1 million on the 1st of August on my channel. We're $70,000 away, and I've got voice actors coming. I've got 2 musicians. There's probably somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000 worth of giveaways.
You could have 3 musicians. I'll do a lot.
I want real musicians.
You just shut that down so fast.
If you haven't, for some reason, popped into my channel and you don't like me at all, you don't even have to donate to enter. Rock up on the day, free to enter any of the giveaways, or you can donate, and every donation adds extra entries to the giveaways. So really would appreciate you come and just help us hit the 1 million and have some fun.
You're so close. That's crazy, dude. It's not even August and you're so close to the milli. That's awesome.
A million. Oh, sorry.
I've got some fun stuff for the stream. Oh, and I'm gonna be dressed as therapist.
Oh, I saw that Photoshop,
therapist?
the mock-up.
Mate,
pin up therapist.
How can I not be sexy? Come on.
Show everybody your tattoo.
Excuse me.
Never mind.
You're not supposed to know about that.
No one sees the butterfly.
No, but seriously, thank you so much, Pestily, for taking the time. Thank you for taking a few hours to chat Tarkov and broader stuff that we love talking about, more just the content creation and what's been going on in your life. So thank you guys so much. I mean, I'm sure everybody already knows Pestily is, but twitch.tv/Pestily, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, he's been all over the place. Fishing streams incoming, maybe 2021, end of 2020. But thank you seriously so much. If this is your first time here, this is a weekly show. So we'll be back next week. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that, we post the video on my YouTube channel. We have some clips coming out, and it's everywhere that podcasts are. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.